Hi everyone, welcome to Tactical Session 2. Today we will be having a look at 2v1s. So 2v1s form the basis of tactics. Now you can start looking at principles that encapsulate more than one player at a time. Okay, now we're going to be looking at team structure and all the ideas that come with that. I hope everyone enjoys the session and then I'll be back shortly. Okay, again this week we'll begin with defending. We are the single blue player all the way on the right, and we will be taking on the orange team all the way on the left. The orange team win if they can get past us, and we will win if we can have the ball go out of play, or if we can make a tackle or regain possession. First step, again like last week when we did the 1v1s, is we want to close down their space. So we want to rush all the way up the field, again stop short of the players about a meter, and then again jockey them all the way back. Well done so far. You've managed to close down the attackers, limit their space. You've also not overcommitted, they're not past you. You're slowly jockeying back and waiting to enter the next step. What we're going to do now is we're going to split the attackers. We're using changes in our body positioning and our body shape. We're going to position ourselves between the two attackers. Moving into splitting the two attackers. Now what you need to understand at this point is that positioning yourself needs constant changes in your body positioning and your body shape, so that you gradually ease yourself into the position. If you rush into it, you will create too much space at some point, and then they'll either pass the ball out of the trap, or the player that's carrying the ball will run past you because you've created too much space. So slowly jockeying all the way back, slow down the speed with which you're going backwards, and the attackers will come closer to you. As they come closer, what you will do is then, using your shoulder and your body positioning, put yourself between the ball carrier and the second supporting player in such a way that you're not giving the ball carrier too much space to beat you, but at the same time you're cutting off the passing lane to the second player. In the beginning, it might have looked tough as you had two players running at you, but at this point, because you followed the principles, you've put yourself in a position where it's a 1v1 with the ball carrier. Already you've done a great job to get to this point. If you follow the principles even further, we will get to a point where we'll win the ball. Now, again, as we've done with the 1v1s, we now want to show the ball carrier into a position where we are favorable. And then at this point, the ball will either go out of play, or the attacker will take a heavy touch and then you can make your tackle. Alternatively, you can also step across the attacker, put your body between the ball and the ball carrier, and then you can regain possession. And with that, we've finished all the principles for defending in a 2v1 situation. Let's see if you followed along and if you understand the principles, and if you can fill in the gaps below. With defending done, we can now move on to attacking in 2v1 situations. We will be the two blue attackers on the left of the screen, and we will be attacking the one orange defender on the right. Our job is to get past the defender and off the screen on the right, and we will obviously lose if we lose possession or if the ball goes out of play. What we want to do now is we want to create space. Similarly to what we've done with the 1v1s, we identified that the main principle in attacking is creating space. So we want to create space by pulling the defender one way and then exploiting that space on the other side, where we can have the freedom to take a touch and then drive into that open space and get past the defender. We've already identified that the primary aim in attacking is to create space. How do we create space in 2v1 situations? By stretching out the field and making it bigger. How do we make the field bigger? With width and depth. We will create width and depth between ourselves, make the field bigger, and therefore give the defender more ground to cover and improve our chances of beating him. In the 1v1s, we pull the defender to one side and then quickly change direction and space to exploit the space created on the other side. Now this week, with the 2v1s where we have an extra player, we don't need to do all the work ourselves. We can pull the defender to one side using a ball carrier, and with our second player, we can stay maintaining that width and depth in a position to receive the ball and then exploit the space while the defender is on the other side trying to defend the ball carrier. As the second player in that supporting role, we want to maintain two things. Number one, we want to maintain a clear passing lane between ourselves and the ball carrier. And number two, we want to always maintain a clear idea of where the created space is. Now it's time for the defender to make a decision. If he stays neutral and leaves enough space for the ball carrier to get past him, then great, we've done our job. But if he engages and tries to stop the ball carrier, then he will fall right into the trap we've set. Because with the second player in that withdrawn position, using width and depth and maintaining a clear passing lane, we can then release the ball into that second player. And then using the clear space we've opened up on the other side, we can get past the defender. And that marks the end of the 2v1 attacking principles. Let's do a quick recap. And that marks the end of Tactical Session 2. We've addressed both the attacking and the defending principles of 2v1s. Now 2v1s, as I mentioned in the beginning, form the basis of a tactical approach to the game. Each team has 11 players at the start, and 11 players versus 11 players means that in essence the game boils down to 11 1v1s all across the field. But if that was the case, then the best team would always win, because their technical abilities would outshine players with less technical gifts. But with the introduction of tactics, we can create overloads and have two players go up against a single player, thereby using a system and a team approach to ensure that we can beat teams that are not only on our level, but even beat teams that are far better. Thank you again for watching the session, as this week we took on the 2v1s, both in attack and the defense. But last week when we did the 1v1s, there was a form to be filled out afterwards, and Cameron Macbeth had the most correct answers. So well done to you, Cameron, you really impressed. This week again we will have the form afterwards, 2v1s both in the attack and the defense, and we would like to hear your answers. We will also include all the answers to the first tactical session in the emails that we use to distribute these videos. We'll see you next week as we do 2v2s.